Welcome to True Tempo. It is Tuesday once again, and today I am starting a new format, a short format, which I call Taking the Temperature on Tempo, or just the temperature of tempo, or tempo temperature, something like that. And anyway, the point is that I'll be looking at the weekly metagame and discussing what the trends mean for especially Izzet Tempo, but also the other versions. I'm doing this because I am in a phase of the year where I don't have a lot of time between um, family and work responsibilities, but I feel like the most important input I can provide in a short format, and then when I have more time, I'll also record games. But today it's just going to be this short format. So we're looking at the kind of the metagame from MTG Goldfish for the last 7 days. That's what I find the most interesting because it shows the trends across leagues, challenges, and paper events that were uploaded to Goldfish. And so we see the top column is kind of like percentage-wise quite a lot higher than the rest, especially, of course, the first three decks. Um, so like Dimir Tempo, that's no news that this is the most played deck. But Oops All Spells being at 11% is pretty extreme for an extreme deck as well. So of course, this is really Magic Online. If you're in paper, if you only play in paper, you're not going to see anywhere near this kind of percentage. But maybe more than you were used to still, even in paper. The cat deck is still big, very big for a non-blue deck, and a new one at that. And then we have Sneak and Show and Lands. So I guess I just want to mention that the bottom column here, they're at more or less the same percentage as Eldrazi, around 2.5%. So in this lot of the two bottom columns, we see a lot of colorless stuff or artifact stuff between Affinity, Painter, Red Stompy, Forge, and also the Epic Storm. They play Chrome Mox and stuff. So that's a lot of artifacts plus Eldrazi worth thinking about for the sideboard, even though every one of these decks is at a low percentage. Together, that still adds up to quite a bit. But yeah, looking at the most played decks, we have, from the perspective of Izzet, a tough matchup in Dimir, although I feel like it's actually surprisingly close to even with at least the configuration I play. Then we have the Cats deck, which is a difficult matchup, but once again, I think Izzet has the tools and better tools than Dimir to beat it. Then we have Oops All Spells, which is really about having Force of Will and some sideboard cards if you want to get better, but with the added context that a card like Stifle or Consign is very good against Oops, countering the payoff trigger. And so yeah, Oops is something we can like fix in sideboarding. But beyond that, it's really about Force of Will or Bust. Then we have Sneak and Show, where I think Izzet is the best of the tempo decks, but Dimir is doing fine as well on the back of Thoughtseize. And then we have Lands, which is always a very tough matchup. And I've been thinking about why it feels like a worse matchup since Expressive Iteration was like in the deck. And I think part of it is that this card we have over here, part of it is Meltdown. It's only part of the story, but back then we always played two Meltdowns, and Lance is actually not very happy to see a Meltdown because of, well, the construct tokens, of course, but also the Mux Diamonds. If you can like force of negate their loam and then shoot their Mox Diamond with a meltdown, which is just like one red, shoot their Mox Diamond. It's nothing special, but it can definitely remove them, like remove their next turns of plays pretty easily. Like their mana is it's not always that good, so the Mox Diamonds are quite essential for kind of making everything both fast and playable. So having Meltdown is pretty good, and we haven't had a lot of Meltdowns in the sideboard for different reasons. Like the Affinity deck it doesn't get punished the same way as the old 8-cast deck did. So Meltdown is less of a clutch sideboard card. The same can be said for Mystic Forge, and against Eldrazi, we'd rather have a Braid. Against Izzet Tempo, the Mishra, we'd rather have a Braid. Like we can't spot in Meltdown against Cutter. It's just not viable. So there are good reasons for why we've been playing a Braid more than Meltdown. But with lands at a high rate, maybe we should reconsider. And another thing that changed, if I'm not mistaken, they're now focusing more on Merit Lage, like quicker than before. So that puts like pretty quick clock on us with regards to finding bounce spells, and that's just like a bit more stress than when they focused more on the Saga tokens, which I feel like they did at that time, focused more on the Saga tokens. And so that's lands. We have lands and oops in these decks that are played a lot, and I think that gave me the idea of building the sideboard in a different way than I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. So let me show you. So I just put the metagame down here. So Surgical Extraction is a card that you usually see like two of in the sorry, let's bring that back in the sideboards of Tempo decks, especially Demir. And so because of this really high rate of oops, I like to try playing 3. And I think that an added bonus of playing such a high amount is that it opens us up to a kind of different avenue of attack against lands that kind of depends on seeing more than one, I mean. And that angle is removing their win conditions, either loam plus stage or stage plus depths, depending on how the game evolves, of course. But it really gives us a lot of time. It can even, like, I think usually they bring in a couple of creatures, so it's not like going to win the game on the spot if we remove depths or stage and saga, but it's gonna be close. So the fact that Oops All Spells makes it viable to play 3 gives us the avenue of being able to reliably surgical more than one thing against lanes, which I think makes the card, much better. The more we see of it, the better, because typically you're going to have a choice when lands, they put loam on the stack, targeting some lands. Ideally, you have an important like either stage or depths or saga versus saga in that pile of targets that you can remove. If not, you'll remove the loam with the surgical, but you're still going to have a problem if you have to remove one of the lands and they have loam going. So ideally you want to see 2 surgicals before too many turns have gone by. And yeah, that's just a lot easier when you play 3 than when you play 2. So that is a way of building, which is kind of also reflecting the fact that I want to like say out loud that when you look at the combo decks in the metagame, you actually don't have Like you have Oops, Sneaking Show, the Epic Storm, and Doomsday. Against Doomsday, they're pretty often gonna have a juke, so you don't want like infinite force of negations against them. I think one is enough for me. Against Sneak and Show, we have Pyroblast and Hydroblast, which is really good, and because of that, I think we can live with having only one force of negation easily. Against the Epic Storm, I'd like to have more, for sure, but yeah, that's like a trade-off. But I feel like playing another surgical instead of a second force of negation makes sense in this metagame we have in front of us. So that being said, let me mention some of the kind of stable cards in my sideboard at the moment against some of the fair strategies. Gutshot is for Dimir and the cats. Orcish Bowmaster and the cats. Pyroclasm for the cats. Brazen for lands and Chalice Murktide. And Pyroblast for the Philia deck, of course, alongside all the other blue decks. And then I'm not sure that it's worth it, but I'd like to try having the 20th land in the form of Mystic Sanctuary. This is well, going back to the expressive iteration era, this is like a great way of breaking parity in the late game against anyone where you go to the late game. That can happen against any deck. And we don't have expressive iteration, but we do have Boomerang Basics, which is a similarly juicy card to hit beyond just finding that Pyroclasm, Meltdown, Pyroblast, or Bolt that we need. So I think it's worth the experiment, even though it's tough to find the room as always. Here I have only one consign, which hurts for sure. And I'd love to have a second Hydroblast as well in this metagame, but you can't have it all. And before I round out the show, if you can call it that, I just want to mention a few details from the last week. So we don't see blue-white Philia or Saurus Philia here, but it had a lot of like 4 or 5 top 8s in the challenges. So that's, I think, a deck which is trending. And I think we're fine against it in the sense that we have, between Bolts and Pyroblasts, kind of the cards that address what we need to address. But I'd love to have a 4th Pyroblast for that matchup. Another thing which is worth paying notice of is there was challenge-winning cats lists that played Jeskai, had a small blue splash for Daze and Lavinia, and let's see if that picks up steam. It's that Lavinia, it does a lot of cool things. It's great against the kind of Mystic Forge drawn decks that go big, which I think must be bad matchups for the cats. And then it also counters the trend that Dimir is playing Massacre in the sideboard. For some time, Dimir played Toxic Deluge, but that was in a metagame where you also had Cradle Control to hit with the sweeper. And for some time, the only target has been the cats, so Massacre is just the better card. But when the cats play Lavinia, you can't play Massacre. So let's see if other people, if it becomes like a big trend that they splash blue. Yeah, and what else to say? Yeah, I also want to mention that there were no Izzet decks, not a single one in the top 8 from last week. And that is, I think, even though we do see it here at a small percentage, but I think that's maybe Izzet is poorly positioned. Maybe a lot of people who play challenges think that it's poorly positioned, so they don't play it. I think both of those might be true. But I also think that if you're playing the card Delver, then you're not giving yourself the biggest chances of doing well because of Dimir Tempo, Oslo Pride. Yeah, I mean these decks. You don't want you. I think you are better off playing the Storm Chasers Talent version against the combo decks. Delver is fine, but it's a small difference, very small difference, I think. So I definitely propose playing Storm Chasers Talent in the current metagame still, and yeah, that's I think all that I want to say. I just want to mention that I have a Patreon where you can find my written content and some extra, a couple of extra small videos every month, but mostly my Tempo textbook and my Izzet Prowess primer and a monthly column. So you can find the link in the video description if you want to go check it out. And anyway, thanks for watching and have a nice week.